No, wouldn't want to do that.
Phil, I dropped another link, and I want you to pop it up.
Like,
I have not previewed this link, so we're all going to learn here.
all right, so Tony, I'm going to let you read this. I don't get.
This will be us. We'll all be reading it for the first time together because I have not previewed this, so I apologize ahead of time. I came across this by accident on a Google search for something completely different, and this is scroll up coming from Spiked.com, I assume. Meet the mean boys of trans activism. How a loud bunch of gay men became the chief online enforcers of a homophobic ideology.
Boy.
And I'm sorry.
You live long enough, you either
alone,
die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain, I guess.
I'm so fucking confused. I just had to know.
Oh, yeah. Please. There's a fight going on between cis gay men and trans people. That's true.
Sure, I'm sorry, how these certain gay men became the head of the homophobic. Like, wow, I just had a flashback to like Harley Dent goes, you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah. All right, I gotta know what this says. I have not read this article. I read the headline. I'm curious. So here we go. There is always a contingent in the gay male world of what we might call the uh-oh men. These were self-dramatizing, hysterical, Western gay men who like loosed battery hens who run back into their batteries, found their newfound freedoms very difficult to live with, and so they took it upon themselves to dole out summary justice on the rest of us and rule the world in general. Or the world in general, sorry, not rule the world. We see them depicted in gay male culture before the advent of trans ideology. David Sedaris captured a perfect example in his satirical piece, Glenn's Homophobia Newsletter, Volume 3, Number 2, collected in Barrel Fever, 1994. Jesus, that's specific. Glenn is an utterly selfish, narcissistic nightmare who uses the language of gay rights and the shield of his identity to cover badly for his terrible personality and actions. Another example, the character was David? What the fuck? Dafydd, the only gay in the village in mid-noughties BBC comedy Little Britain. Like many of the jokes in that series, now widely disowned by the creators for whom it made millions of pounds, the humor came from pointing out the society had moved on.
What is talking about?
I don't know. I'm not sure. David was an exhibitionist neurotic stuck in the 80s, a self-saboteur living in a culture in which nobody else much noticed or cared about his sexuality. Nobody knew then that David was not the past, but the future. I got to pause here. Does anybody have any fucking clue what I've just said?
I am in fucking...
Because I don't. I'm just reading the words.
Icow, please tell me that made sense to you.
Out of everybody, Ico knows. He's muted
he's
for some
muted.
reason.
Ico, you're still muted. Hey, babe. Hello.
Ico's like, I'm going to pretend I'm muted.
No, I do a little bit. It's not, I don't know these characters in particular, but I do know that British comedy at that point very much made like gay men the butt of jokes. And so they exaggerated them to great degrees. And they're just pointing out.
That's what that said?
Yeah. That they're pointing out like sort of gay buffoonery in British comedy 25 years ago to the way this group of people that they've discovered now are behaving. And they're saying, oh, all of these like jokes from the past are actually happening for real now. That's the claim that's being made.
We will see.
Why can't people just write? What the fuck? Why?
Well,
why
this is probably a Brit.
This read like a Twitter post.
Yeah, this is probably a Brit, and a British audience would probably understand.
Let's say it read like the beginning of a short story to me.
Oh my god! I'm so confused. I don't know the point trying to be made. I'm so fuck. Okay.
Continue.
Oh, look at this. It's even mentioned. The cause of trans rights and gender ideology, or genderism, gave these gay men new purpose and drive, and it brought out hidden tendencies in others. Suddenly, there was something shiny and new to the fulminate of and froth. My God, they
fulminate and froth about.
Yeah, that. Oh wow, that's great.
I'm stealing that phrase. Actually, that's beautiful.
Yeah, what to sext? Jesus Christ! Something fresh on which to pin their awful anger and their need to punish and control. And Twitter, now known as X, was the perfect arena in which to do it. Yeah, exactly. Just like this fucking article, because it reads like a Twitter post. What a picture that was. Holy shit. These men are conspicuously not very bright. They consider it likely that lesbians and gay men of the left, who have spent decades fighting for gay rights, all suddenly decided to become far-right haters of effeminate men and butch women one Wednesday afternoon in April 2015. They rant and rave about standing with their trans siblings, failing to notice that a very great proportion of that cohort are heterosexual men who merely enjoy cross-dressing and or gate-crashing lesbian speed dating events. They have somehow overlooked the well-evidenced fact, backed up by the Cass review, that girls and boys who don't conform to sex stereotypes are being led down the path of chemical castration and mutilation. All of this counts for nothing because it interferes with their Napoleonic levels of self-regard and the opportunities that noxious combination of social media and gender ideology gives to their appalling flaws. I don't know what the fuck I just said.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what stance this article is trying to take. It's getting a little.
I understand at the core of every language, all words are made up. But I don't know what the fuck I just said.
And it takes the
so I'm just disclaimer. If somebody clips out what I just read off this article, there needs to be a caption at the bottom. Doesn't know what the fuck he's saying. Ico, translate.
Hang on 1 second.
Well, it's no different than what I said before. It's
not.
No, they're saying that these sort of exaggerated caricatures of gay people, like from the 90s or whatever, are now like coming to true for real, where gay people are entering the world of the trans space or whatever, and they're just, they're sort of pushing all the boundaries.
Okay, so say Marlon Wayans throws on a dress. The stereotype that is in a 90s comedy.
In real time. So they're saying that the activists in real life just want to be offended, and they want to insist that everybody accept their lifestyle, not just be left alone like they used to claim, right? But that they're actually becoming the caricatures that people in the 90s thought that they were, which they weren't back then, but apparently are now.
But doesn't this
subgroup of the LGBTQ community, they mean?
But does this not push the idea that the ridiculous stereotypes of a foregone decade are really just the inspiration for some of the worst offenders of the stereotype now?
Yes, exactly. But back then, from this author's point of view, those stereotypes back then turned out to be a prescient prediction of what would happen in the future, which is you would get these like super extreme people who are just looking for attention and are offended at everything.
I don't even know if it's so much a prediction. I think it's just at this point you can put pen to paper and bring to life on a screen, whether it be TV or movie, and have those things come to light, because literally we are seeing in real time, and I mean quickly now, with meme culture, you make the meme and it will create itself through trial and error.
Yeah, it's called Poe's Law.
In real time.
It's called Poe's Law.
But we see it. It happens. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, the stereotypes of the 90s or the early 2000s. We're
Well, that's
seeing
what
that
this
now
author's saying.
be
I'm
a
not
real
saying.
thing. Okay.
I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree. With
This
the
goes
author.
on and on and on.
So what the
Oh, yeah,
problem?
no, we're not
wait.
reading
I
all of
think
it.
the real problem with this article is that you can't understand it. The real problem with this article is they write it in like a poetic type of way. It's not it's not a straightforward article. It's written in this like blase, crazy, like poetry type shit. Like, well, nobody
we had to ask a couple times, Rich, will you please interpret for us, please?
Yeah,
because we don't speak lefty. Okay, we don't like.
Oh, it's not
This is a
lefty.
righty.
It's poetry. It's
not
a
even
poetry.
lefty or righty.
It's a writing style. Yeah, it's a writing style. It's a bad writing style.
Phil,
for an article.
Like, Phil, 6 or 7 months ago, you posted a screenshot of a Twitter post and asked specifically to like a dozen of us, can anybody understand a fucking word of this? I read it like 20 fucking times. And no, I could not. And I'm like, at this point, I was so perplexed with the wording of it. I went to Twitter and dove headfirst into the rabbit hole where there were people like for and against it that were trying to decipher the ridiculous made up fucking phrases that this person used. Like, even the people in the trans community were like, yeah, most this shit isn't a real fucking made up word that we made up. And it was nonsense to the.
I remember. I think it was a tweet from Brianna Wu from many months
yes,
ago.
It was.
I was like,
it fucking was. That's
like,
exactly
all right,
what
guys, can any of you tell me what the fuck any of this even means? Like, and that's what I mean. Like, when I say we're watching 2 different movies on the same screen because we're like starting to speak different languages, and some of the words. They're the same word, but they mean different things. Like, think of the difference, and you can even track this onto like religion, like a Protestant and Catholic, the difference between the word saint. 2 entirely different meanings. Right. And we're getting that also starting to track onto our political realities.